showtime!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my guest really needs no introduction. He's well known in the travel space around the world. He's known as International Zoe, and I want to thank him to the ISS podcast. And Zoe, thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, brother.
All right, good. The first thing I want to ask you is, like, what is the aim? What is the mission? What is the intent of your particular vlog and your content?
Initially, when I created, the channel was called Barber World TV.
Right.
And just as of maybe a year ago, I changed it to International Zoe. The intentions behind the channel was to travel around the world, interviewing barbers and showing the culture of barbering, because I'm a barber, I'm a shop owner, licensed barber. I was once a teacher, instructor, and also a state board examiner. I used to do this show in New York City called the New York City Barber Battle. And I had barbers come from all over the country and sometimes out of the country to compete. So I created the channel to promote the barber battle. And that's how Barber World TV started. Then I would also go to all the hair shows around the country, and I participated as a teacher, I participated as a vendor, and I would interview barbers, celebrity barbers and stuff. That was the first idea of the channel.
Okay.
And then once that was done, I said, okay, I'm gonna take this on the road. You know, that's why I was Barber World TV, because I'm gonna travel around the world showing the culture. Well, in the beginning, I started in 2018 to travel and go to barbershops in different countries, in Panama, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, the Philippines, Thailand. You know, I did it.
Right.
It just got a little boring, a little mundane. The questions were similar. What inspired you to be a barber? What are the latest styles? How many years have you been cutting? So on and so forth. So I said, let me show some of the other things I'm doing while I'm in these countries, which would be the tourist attractions and the nightlife.
Correct.
And so it evolved into that type of content after maybe a year. And then, so I kept doing that. And then I just decided, you know, that I would go with the International Zoe, because I wasn't really covering any barbering stuff anymore. So I eventually changed the name, even though I had built a following. And sometimes people still say Barber World TV.
Right.
They don't say International Zoe, depending on when they discover the channel.
Right.
So at this point, I just look at my channel as a sharing channel. My goal is to share my experiences, to help people get a cheat code, a shortcut to when they travel to new countries, where they can stay,
Right.
what they can do, what does it look like, what does it smell like, what does it taste like, you know, and just share my experience on the road, and also kind of be similar to what I was in a barbershop. A mentor, a big brother. You know, I would school a lot of people in my chair and give advice and stuff
Right.
like that. That's kind of what the whole Sunday sermon derived from that. I was doing that before. So it's just to share, to teach, and you know, help people. A lot of people come up to me in countries and thank me for inspiring them to travel,
Right.
giving them an idea what they could do when they traveled, and you know, just, you know, they like what I do and they say keep going.
Okay. What would you say are some of your favorite travel locations?
Trust me, I have a whole lot more that I want to get to. But thus far, I really could see myself going back to South Africa. I could, of course, everybody knows I love DR. I love Brazil. I purchased a property in Brazil.
Okay.
I love Colombia, Thailand. What else could I add to there? There are some places you only need to go once. Like, I went to Barcelona, Spain. I visited Sagrada Familia, all that type of stuff. I've been to Egypt. I've been in the Great Pyramid, and I've been to Easter Island, where I visited the Moai statues. There's certain places that are amazing, but you only need to go to once. And then there are certain places you have fun. And then there's also, with the fun, there are places that have a good expat community, what gives you reason also to go back to these places, such as Thailand and not so much Brazil, but Colombia and the DR.
Okay. All right. And let me get your opinion about this. Do you think it takes a particular mindset for a person to want to be a traveler
Yes.
these days.
Yes, emphatically yes.
Okay.
Because the real travelers, and I guess I'll make the distinction after once I make my point.
Right. Because in my opinion, some people shouldn't be traveling.
Not that they shouldn't
Not
be
that
traveling.
they shouldn't be traveling, but it's the way they carry themselves
That's another.
makes you want to say,
That's another issue.
yeah, they shouldn't be traveling.
That's another issue.
Right.
The behavior of some people is based on what how they grew up and what they were taught. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't travel, but it's kind of like, now get me wrong, I've seen some Huckleberry Finn white people that travel too in my time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That they could be
yeah.
considered the same thing as what we say Pookie and Ray Ray. So
Right.
you're gonna have those type of people, but they are inspired. So if we can inspire them to travel, then maybe we can inspire them to behave better too. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's not you can't like discourage them from traveling, because I think with travel you get exposed to culture,
Right,
and
that's
that
true.
could change your being to get you to the level you need to be.
Right.
So yeah, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
When you say it's not for everybody, and when I say it's not for everybody, meaning that this takes a certain amount of courage. The real travelers, I mean, people who actually go into countries alone,
Correct.
blindsided,
Like
you know
what
what I
we're
mean?
doing.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
and just you got to figure it out. You got to discover things. You got to run into people. You got to ask questions. You have a language barrier and so on and so forth. It takes a certain type of courage, and it's not for everyone, clearly, because you're probably the only one in your immediate circle who travels this way. I have friends I grew up with. They watch me travel. Not one of them has been on a trip with me yet.
None of mine
And
have.
I've always invite them.
Yeah.
And I extend it to them to make it easy for them.
Yeah.
They got a built-in guide,
Yeah.
and they still, it could be circumstances, it could be where you are in your life, but it's not for everybody, and it could ruin you if you're not prepared. Like me, I'm semi-retired. I'm in a position where I got time. My children are grown. I'm not married anymore. I can kind of do what I want to do.
Right.
But if you're a younger guy who maybe have school, you have younger children, you're in a relationship, you could come to one of these places and be like, wow, I want to be here.
Exactly.
I don't want to be there anymore. And you might abandon your responsibilities
That's
for this
true.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not for everybody.
Yeah. What are some of the other ups and downs that you would say that you've experienced during your travels? Mainly the downs.
The downs.
Yeah, let's go with the downs.
Sometimes staying in the wrong neighborhoods, the wrong area. You miscalculated some things, not doing enough research.
Yeah.
Feeling like you wasted your time. Sometimes it might be kind of boring, or just not knowing what to do, not having enough information to do the right things.
Sometimes you get tricked by Airbnb though.
True,
On the
that too.
locations,
Of course.
the way the place looks inside,
Definitely.
especially compared to the photo.
Oh yeah.
I've had that several times where I went to an Airbnb and it was awful.
Yeah.
Nothing like the photo at all.
Or and not in the type of neighborhood you would expect.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
sometimes they'll return your money. Sometimes you gotta take a loss. Sometimes it's all your fault too. So, yeah, that's some of the downs, and not doing enough research too
true,
can be a
yeah.
down for you. And just prime example. I had a great time when I went to South Africa. I went to Cape Town and I went to Joburg, but it was wintertime. I didn't know. I had to go in the mall and buy a goose coat. Still had a good time. It was
Yeah.
warmer in Cape Town than in Joburg, but it was freezing.
Yeah, unexpected
Because
expense.
I didn't do, I'm thinking, that's the farthest thing from my mind, you're going in the wrong season.
Right.
And people was watching my videos like, why you got on a coat? It's Africa. So that's what, not doing the proper research.
Right.
Going at the wrong, you could go someplace in rainy season by accident from not doing proper research. So that could always be a downer. So that's why sometimes people are like, if you're not going to do your own research, then sometimes it's good to pay for a consultation.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah.
Yeah.
As a traveler, I think there comes a point, especially traveling the way you do and the way I do, and we're in different countries, multiple countries. I think after a while, we realize that we've automatically been pushed into a position where we're like marketers and entrepreneurs. When did you realize that that aspect of your life was, you had to make some, hey, now I'm a marketer, now I'm an entrepreneur, not just a traveler.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess I always looked at it that way because
Yeah.
I'm a business person,
Right.
and I've been in business, officially in business with a corporation since I was 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I always looked at it from a business standpoint. Like my business for this travel is in an LLC.
Right.
I get paid from YouTube to my LLC. I get paid from Patreon, all that. That goes to my LLC, and then my LLC pays me. So I always looked at it from a business mindset. Now,
That's excellent.
there's more business that can be made, like even to a point where people email me, companies email me and ask me to, make a video on their product or something. I haven't found the right fit, or sometimes they send a contract and I'll be like, I don't want to sign it. So I haven't done it yet, but that's another avenue. Right. Also, at the point I'm at, I've gave exposure to many entrepreneurs internationally. Any brothers from the States have had a restaurant or a club or a bar.
Right.
I'll let them come on my platform. I'll let people know about their business. So
that
is another lane of business that to a certain point when if it's asked that they could, come to the point where, hey, I'll give you this if you come and cover my new business.
I've seen you doing that, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
But definitely I have like t-shirts, so there is a business aspect to it. That's not the reason why I do it, but I need to take that into consideration more and take that part more seriously because I'm doing more of this than anything else, than the other things that are making me money.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about self-beliefs and self-doubts. Let's do the self-beliefs first.
Mm-hmm.
As a traveler, as an entrepreneur and a businessman, do you believe it's critical for a person to have a strong self-belief system if they're wanting to, let's just say, get into traveling and seeing the world and branching off from that into other things?
Yeah, self-confidence is important, and self-belief, because
some people can steal your dreams. You know what I mean?
people can discourage you.
Yeah,
Your
absolutely.
family, probably number one.
Why are you traveling like that and going all these places?
Is it dangerous, and so on and so forth. You get that. Go to Brazil. Oh, you sure you want to go to Brazil? It's dangerous. I heard it's dangerous. I heard people over there got this and that. Colombia, everything. So you have to be strong-minded, strong-willed, definitely, to travel and go out on your own. It's getting easier because there's a lot of information out there, but people who are not doing what you're doing are going to easily try to discourage you from doing it. And even if they're not doing it intentionally, they're going to do it because they're not doing what you're doing.
Right.
And then you have the people who are jealous of
haters.
what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they're going to throw salt on anytime you stumble or fall, you get a nick or scratch, they're going to throw salt in that wound as well. So you got to have tough skin, which would be believing in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And believing that you're doing what you want to do for the right reasons.
Yeah, because everybody you think that's with you is not necessarily for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've learned that, a lot of times when you have elevated yourself, above perhaps your peers or other old friends that you used to hang out with, you try to go back home or wherever you're from and see those certain people. You can't always hang with them anymore because some of them don't like you the way they used to anymore because you changed. You know what I mean?
For instance, I posted something and a girl I've known for years since we were teenagers, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just enjoying this. You're going through a midlife crisis," and I'm like, I'm living
my best life.
Yeah, well, that's how you see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I said I could be over here doing this, or I could be in the States doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And one friend asked me, he was like, "Yo, are you terminally ill or something?" He said, "Because you like traveling around the world, like you don't got no time left." And I laughed, but I'd be like, that's the way you should be behaving like this. And tomorrow is not promised, because
Correct.
if you live your life like that, I'm pretty sure you'll live with less regrets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I feel like, listen, I was married for 20 years. I raised my kids. They're young adults. It's back to my time. You know what I mean? And of course, I still help my children out and so on and so forth. But I'm at a great position in my life. I've built a foundation. My business is only going to be, in 3 more years, is going to be 30 years in business.
Right.
Not a lot of people could say they did that.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So no matter what happens from here on out, I live a hell of a life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hoping to continue it, but shit, I don't have many regrets.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
What's your advice to take a leap as an entrepreneur? What would you tell someone, or what advice would you give someone who's teetering on that and saying, man, I want to do something similar to that, where I can travel, I can live my best life, but I don't know if I can take that step yet.
Right.
What advice would you give that type of
I
person?
think, it's funny because me being an entrepreneur, there's nothing else that I could possibly have seen myself doing besides what I want to do. But I know I'm built for it.
Yeah, I'm the same
I
way.
was willing to do what
Sacrifice.
I needed to do and take all the risks.
Right.
So it's one thing when you're built for it or you're born with it, the instinct of it. There's another thing to be inspired and want to try. I would say at minimum, try it, so you have no regrets.
Yeah.
At least try it.
Yeah.
Because you could find out it ain't for me. Some people are like, I don't want to run no business. I don't want to be in my own business. I want me a guaranteed 9-to-5 paycheck. But while you have that, you could take some of that money and start your own business.
On the side,
so
yeah.
you don't have to risk everything
Right.
to see if that's for you. But I would say give it a shot if it's something you really want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would say try it at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great advice. Here's the question. It's somewhat deep. Are you happy?
Okay. I can't say like I'm just kicking my heels all the time.
Right.
But even in my happiness, sometimes you could just get a little depressed or you could get a little worried. And then also traveling will let you see the conditions that a majority of the world is living under, and you coming from America, coming from your background where you see you're so blessed and fortunate. So it's like you can't take anything for granted, because with all of the terrible things that America has done in its past, being an American and coming from America, I'm at an advantage to a lot of people who have my same skin color or not in the world. So it's hard to like be down on yourself. I mean, right now we're in Medellin, Colombia.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're in a whole other country.
Right.
We're in the best parts of Medellin, Colombia. So that's like living in the best parts of New York City or Los Angeles. So you're able to get because you're coming from America with that dollar, and in some instances, not all over the world, but in some instances, you're able to live or stay or visit the best parts of a country because of the dollar that you carry.
That's true.
I couldn't afford to live in Fifth Avenue in New York City or at Central Park West, and go to those restaurants.
Yeah.
But
the way we are now.
right, similar to that, I could do it here.
Yeah,
I could do it in Thailand. You know what I'm saying? I could do it in Brazil. So it's like, man, you be happy.
Yeah, that's true.
If I was out of here tomorrow, God forbid, man, what are people going to say? Man, that brother lived his life.
Best life.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They're going to,
Absolutely, because that's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
When do you feel the most emotionally connected to yourself? And what I mean by that is, like, I give you an example for me. I feel emotionally connected to myself when I'm working, because I love coaching and teaching people about email marketing, social media marketing, internet marketing, anything that has to do with marketing, creating my courses, teaching people these things. That's when I feel connected, because I can work 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, and I feel great. Like I've lived my best
Right.
working. I know work is not everything, but for me, I love working.
No,
and I'll do this.
you're
for a long
doing
time.
something that you're
Yeah.
passionate about. So
Right.
when you do what you love, they say it's not work.
Yeah.
So I understand that feeling. And I had that feeling at a point. Like when I used to be building my barbershops, I would be in there all night doing little minor little minute things and getting everything. The lines had to be right, putting up the mirrors, you know.
Yeah.
And I could do that. And my wife would be like, it's 3 in the morning. And I'd be like, so what? I'm in here putting my masterpiece together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there was a time I felt like that in my industry, but I don't feel like that anymore. Then there was a time I felt like that when I was traveling.
Right.
You know? So I guess I'm looking for the next frontier for me, you know, like where I'm just feeling like, wow. And maybe I mean, sometimes you're in positions and you're in places where it's breathtaking. You know, your view is breathtaking.
Right.
And you just be like, wow, you know. So that's a deep question, and I don't really have a straight answer for it, but I understand what you're saying.
Right.
And there was times that I could pinpoint it. But right now, it's like I'm trying to discover a new Zoe. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Hold that, because I got a question for you on
Okay.
that. And here it is, putting
Okay.
things into perspective, which is what you were leading into. As we age, we gain experience, knowledge, we develop new philosophies about our life. Let me ask Zoe, where do you believe your life journey is taking you next?
I don't know. Okay, I would say that it's probably still going to be somewhere with traveling.
Right.
Now, I invested in a condo in Rio de Janeiro. Well, I live there partially, you know, so I think it's taken me to another country. I enrolled in school there, you know, and I think just this whole travel thing is my new life. You know, that has already been started 5 years ago.
Right.
But I don't know where I'm going to go with it, you know, because there's a lot of places that I would like to go. There's things I would like to see.
Right.
And so for, at least for another 5 years, you know, I'm going to stay in this space of traveling the world, you know. So I will still see myself in that for at least another 5 years. After that, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's get some perspective on, and maybe some advice and your opinions on, while you're doing your travels and meeting and having relationships with women, and the cultural differences that you've learned over the years. What's your thoughts or feelings on that?
I think the baseline of most women are similar. You know, they want to be taken care of, they want to be protected, they want to be loved, you know, respected, and so on and so forth. I think the baseline is the same, but then when you get into the cultural things, it changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, as far as where they are, and I think I've had the most experience with the 3 countries I've been in the most. Maybe you could add
I've
not
been
really
there
the
a lot
DR,
too.
but I would say
Yeah.
Brazil. I had a lot of experience. I had a lot of experience here in Colombia, and I had a good amount of experience in Thailand.
Right.
And that was kind of what this year's whole concept was: social experiment, 3 countries, 3 girlfriends, and 3 lifestyles. You know, so I'm at my midpoint mark, and I didn't get to do a lot of time in Brazil yet. I only got 1 month in Brazil.
Right.
So I'm 2 months I already had gotten in Thailand. Actually 4 months, because I started earlier.
Right.
It started to fall into fruition in November of last year.
Right.
So I got a couple weeks in November. Then I got December, January in Thailand. Then I came back here to Colombia, had a month here. Then I went to Brazil for a month. I didn't make a connection there. Then I went back to Thailand for 2 months.
Right.
I would say Thailand, the women, to me, are more suitable if you're looking for the traditions.
Right.
Respect, cook, clean, honoring your man. I think they have the least amount of feminism in their culture. And that's the most success I've found so far. Now, I had a girlfriend here for a little while in Colombia, and cooking and cleaning was all, but I think there still was a lot of me. And that could be just an individual person, but I find that the women in Colombia all want to be taken care of, and most thing that's important to them is money. To me, what I found, is like money is high on the list.
Right.
Like probably in the top 2. If it ain't 1, it's 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something to consider.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Because even the men here, women will do a lot of things here for money.
Yeah.
And not every woman, of course, but
That's true.
money is very important to the women here in Colombia. I think more important than anywhere else I've been thus far. I think even more important than America, because in America, women have opportunity to go and get that money themselves.
Correct.
Even though now the problem in there was that if a woman got the money, the problem with the women in America is that they won't date down. So if they're a successful woman making a lot of money, they want a man to match or surpass them.
Correct.
And the problem that occurs is that if a man matches or surpasses your success, his option pool is much bigger than yours.
Much bigger than yours, exactly.
And that's what causes
Women
the
are
problem.
delusional about that.
That's another story, but that's the problem, in America.
Right.
So you see these different dynamics.
Right.
And I've experienced a little bit experience in Brazil, and they're not too far behind on the feminism thing. The independent woman, from my experience.
Brazilian, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So maybe it's the big cities like Rio and Sao Paulo and certain like that. So, but I would say they are highly affectionate and, in touch with their feelings, their attraction and sexual. Those things are not, they're not shamed for being in touch with their feminism and that type of femininity, their femininity per se. Now, what I would say about the women in Thailand is that they're not as affectionate. They don't show affection. Like, they're not used to kissing someone when they see them.
Right.
They're not used to kissing someone when you leave. Like, they're being taught this thing from dealing with foreigners.
Foreigners, correct.
Because that's not really their thing.
Right.
They're
Or
not,
even in public.
Right. They're not walking, holding hands big time and stuff like that. So that part of it is different.
Yeah.
Where in Colombia, holding hands is,
It's natural.
Kissing, and Brazil, kissing on both sides of the cheek, so there's definitely some differences. Yeah.
Let's talk about briefly, I would say, simps in the game.
Yeah. Okay, so I try not to use that terminology, but I understand what you're saying.
Right.
And the way it was explained to me, which I don't know your definition for it, but to me, how it was explained to me, a simp is a guy who treats a woman good,
right,
undeserving, meaning that she doesn't respect him.
Correct.
He treats her good. She uses him. He allows her to use him, and she maybe disrespects him. He allows it. So letting a woman take advantage of you, or treating a woman in a way where she is undeserving, unappreciative, and you continue to do these things, is what a simp is. But I think people are just throwing the word out, because there's a difference between if you want to say somebody's a simp, or somebody's a trick, or somebody's a mongerer. There's other words to be used to describe some of the things that men are doing, but people who don't understand the terminology, or they're just blanketing, is the new lingo is simp. And everybody's using it to basically disrespect another man, or disagree with the way he moves and behaves when it comes to women.
Right. I'll give an example. For example, like, I know a lot of men, whether it's from Europe, United States, Canada, mainly Western men. They travel to other countries, basically Southeast Asia and Asian countries, but mostly Southeast Asia. and they will travel from the West halfway around the globe to meet a woman with 2, 3, 5, 7 kids. And that's sort of what I mean by being a simpleton. It's like, why would you travel from your country to not deal with something like that to another country to meet a woman and deal with something like that?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but far as Southeast Asia, let me say this.
Because I see a lot of guys do it,
but
especially in the Philippines.
But
they meet women with...
Okay, but depending where you go,
right.
the type of women you're going to meet.
Right.
So you're meeting women who are in tourist areas to make money to survive.
Correct.
What do they need the money to survive for? To take care of their family.
Right. And
so,
kids.
So of course, that's what I mean. So of course, those are the ones that are going to be open to you, going to be easy to meet, and going to meet you halfway by being in the tourist areas, right? So you're going to meet that type of woman. The other thing is that type of woman usually is not taking care of their children all the time. The parents are taking care of their children.
Or grandparents, yeah.
Right, so you don't necessarily have to deal with them and their children, at least not a lot.
Not in the beginning.
You might meet them.
Eventually you will.
Maybe if you marry them
right,
or you take it to the next
level.
level.
Long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But I gotta say, does that not happen in America?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
okay, when you meet a woman, if you didn't meet her with all her kids, 1, attraction is the number one thing. 2, personality. Then if you get the sex and you like that too, the way she treats you. You know, so the kids might come in later and you might be, now. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that if you are going to go in and take care of this woman and do all these things for her and she doesn't appreciate it, she doesn't respect you, she doesn't reciprocate, that's to me is where the problem lies. The problem doesn't lie in a man being attracted to a woman, marrying a woman. I mean, look at Claudine. Look at the movie Claudine. You gonna call him a simp or you gonna call him a hero? She had 5 kids. He came in and they had problems and stuff, but he ended up being one at the end and being the father to all her kids. Is that a simp or is that a man? Who's the bad guy there? The man who left her with the kids or the man who came in and loved the woman, took everything that came with the woman?
But the thing is, though, is that my thing is that why would you go somewhere else? And it's kind of like being Captain Save-A-Ho. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I shouldn't maybe say Save-A-Ho.
No, because I've made a video about that too. But
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Listen. We could all front all we want. That's nothing new under the sun, and they don't have nothing to do with what country you in. There's always going to be men who will accept a woman where she is and what she has and all her baggage. You can't outcoach them. You know what I'm saying? That's his business. You know what I'm saying? Would I do it? Probably not, maybe not, but it's what it is.
Right.
You understand? It's what it is. Right. You know what I'm saying? I got an ex-wife. Well, my kids are grown, but hey, you know what I'm saying? My mother had 5 kids. My stepfather came. He took care of us. He loved us. He loved my mother first. Yeah. And he had to take what came with her. He was a better father than my biological father.
Right.
Can I knock him? Was he a bad guy? Nah, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Now, whether you did that in Atlanta or you did it in New York, it's going to happen. So whether you do it in Thailand or you do it in Colombia, this is the type of stuff that's going to happen every day. And everybody's trying to act like they wouldn't do it, they would never do it. Or you can say is you would hope to not be in that situation, but you don't know. You know, and then it depends on where you are. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you couldn't even do it if you wanted to, maybe in America, right? You couldn't get, so you might be getting the quality of look that you want, the quality of body or age that you want, and this is what comes with it. So you could say, this type of woman, this beauty, this shape, this age, I could never get where I'm from. I can get it here. That's what I want. That's what's making me happy. Does it come with 2 kids? Am I willing to deal with that? You know what I'm saying? So it depends how you break it down. So now you can see how it can happen, right? That's what it is. I seen a guy get off the plane in Barranquilla, from America. We were talking. He watched my channel. Beautiful, beautiful Colombian sister. Met him at the airport with balloons and stuff with her daughter. I'm pretty sure that daughter wasn't his.
Right.
But the way they was waiting and they was happy and jumping when he came out that immigration, I can't be mad at him because she got a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, if he love her and he gonna take care of her and do for her and help her, it's gonna funnel down to the children. It is what it is, man. So that's why I say I wouldn't call those guys simps.
Okay.
I would call the guys who let a girl walk all over him, take advantage of him.
Right.
To me, that's a simp.
Yeah.
Because that you can stop.
Right.
That you know.
Gold digger too.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the things that you're playing simple if you want to allow somebody to use and abuse you.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knowing what you know now and all that you've experienced thus far, what would Zoe now tell young Zoe from when he was 20, 21, 22 years old? What would you tell him?
I might have told Zoe, because it was a time in my life when I was going through this thing with these two women and stuff, and I think I was going to go to Mexico by myself or somewhere. And I didn't go because I didn't want to go by myself. And I know I needed a mental break from these women, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't go. I would just tell young Zoe at that time, you should have took that trip, player. And maybe not Mexico, but you should have went to the DR.
Sosua? At the time?
Yeah, Sosua. Yeah. This was like 1995-ish, you know what I'm saying? 1995-ish, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, boy.
That's way back.
I would have got over them real quick.
I would say back in those days, Sosua was actually great.
I know.
It was amazing.
I used to hear about it.
Today, what do you think about it?
I haven't been in over a year.
Okay.
But I will say,
From that time.
I have no regrets. My first time in Sosua was 2018. Of course, I couldn't have gone when I was married and all that stuff. Some guys do, but it was amazing to see. Like, I was actually like stunned by the beauty of the women and the amount of women.
Right.
And with the ease that you could interact with them. I haven't, now I had an experience with traveling when I was doing music, doing shows, coming backstage girls and all that stuff. So I had experience with that, but not the experience with the way it's laid out there. And I was shocked, you know, it was just amazing. You know, I was just like, oh, and I think that, I don't know if a man should experience that before or after marriage, because I could see someone experiencing that before not getting married.
Right.
You understand? Like never going that route, you know, so yeah.
VR is a different animal, man. It's
and it's not the only one in the jungle.
One of my favorite places was Santiago.
Santiago, okay.
Yeah, the reason I like Santiago DR is because I'm more of a, I like the brighter skinned females.
Oh, okay.
And so they were in Santiago. So for me, that was the place. Oh, man.
I don't care. Light, dark, just beautiful.
I like all women. I like all women.
Yeah, people think that I only like light skin. No, I just like beautiful women.
Yeah.
It don't matter if they're lighter or darker.
Snow bunny doesn't matter to me.
I don't prefer. Like, I'm not really attracted to white women. And people are like, well, that's why I don't go to a lot of European countries. Not that they're not beautiful. That's just not my thing.
Right.
So if part of my channel was discovering and nightlife and interacting with women, that's not going to be high on my list of places to visit. Even though I'm sure I could go and probably have a good time, but I would always choose non-European country. And I've been to a few European countries that had good times, but it's not really my thing.
Yeah, I lived in Russia for a while. Women are beautiful, supermodels.
I don't trust. A beautiful woman is a beautiful woman, no matter what race or what complexion.
That's true.
You know, but I prefer a little melanin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But look, my girlfriend here, Pinky, for a while, she's white as can be.
Yeah.
Red hair. Not my preference, but she was down. She was down
Yeah.
to you know,
Yeah.
she was down to do what I wanted to do, you know, and so I would say, even though she was real light, she was still Colombian. You know what I mean? So
Right.
even though she
Mine
might
is
be,
light. Mine is white. She
Right.
calls herself Snow Bunny.
right,
So,
But-
she's Colombian.
right. So the culture is still different than
Correct.
a white European.
Correct.
So
Or
yeah.
American or Canadian.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Exactly.
totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions here. Jack, swole, or buff? Which one?
Me?
Yeah, A, B, or C. A is Jack, B is swole, and C is buff.
None of the above.
None of the above. If you could be, or if you were working to be towards that, which one do you think you would prefer?
None of them. I don't want to be like that.
You don't want to be
I
Jack,
want to be
swole, or
healthy.
buff? Just be healthy.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be Jack. I don't want to be like I don't.
Like swole when
that's
you got out of prison.
that's not my style. So none of those really fit. I just want to be in shape a little bit. You know, just
Right.
in shape.
How much money do you feel is enough to live the type of lifestyle that you really want to live? Do you think there's a money amount or a particular amount? For example, let's just say it's $5,000 a month, $10,000, $100,000 a month, $10 million a month. What do you feel is good for you or best for you to live the way you really want to live?
I think
I mean, because we're living a good life now.
no doubt.
We're living.
I think-
Look how we're living now. So
Yeah.
we're doing good.
10,000 a month, I think, could be. I could just do anything I wanted to do mostly, because there's nothing that I feel like I would need to do to surpass that per month.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So I could, especially out of the country. You know what I'm saying? In America, you know, that's like it's still good.
It's good.
Still good,
but it's kind of okay.
But
Yeah,
out of the
it's-
country, like for me to split my time between here, Colombia, Brazil, Thailand, and I had $10,000 a month to work with no worries. I know it's just going to be in my bank
no
account.
worries at all.
I could rock out with that.
Yeah.
You know, more is always better when it comes to
Yeah.
money, but
But that's plenty enough
I don't
to do what
need-
you want
yeah,
to do. Because
because-
we've done with
Right.
less.
And I'm happy.
Right.
I'm happy.
Right.
And I'm not a person that needs to go that much beyond my means. I just need
Right.
to be able to get a few little clothing items, you know,
Few
go out
things.
to some nice places, you know, and not feel no pain when I want to splurge a little.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I need.
Right. And things in your life aren't dictated monetarily.
Right.
Basically.
And I'll probably accumulate that money anyway because I wouldn't even need the whole 10.
Right.
So I have leftover from last month
Right.
where I'll be like, okay, we're going to go crazy
Right.
at the end of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for the interview, and I'm truly blessed. And
For sure.
yeah, truly blessed and great, man. Thank you for doing this for me. Really
All right,
appreciate
no
it.
problem, brother.
Yeah.
Peace. Subscribe, snitches.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?